Senator Ted Kaufman of Delaware says stock market regulations give high-volume traders the upper hand, and he wants the SEC to do something about it. Well, Senator Kaufman wrote a letter to the SEC yesterday urging the agency to review 7 stock market practices, and he joins us now this morning from Philadelphia. And Senator Kaufman, great to have you with us on the program.
Thank you, Betty. Glad to be on.
And quite timely, given the announcement we just got about 15 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago from President Obama. I want to get your view on that first, on Bernanke being reappointed.
Sure. Well, I think in September last year, Bernanke did a wonderful job of steering us through a very difficult thing. I met with him a number of times since I've been in the Senate. He's been right on in terms of predicting what we should be doing and how it should be going. So I'm a big supporter. I think it's a great appointment. I think he'll do real well.
And, we had our guest earlier, just a few moments ago, Bill King, noting, he's one of the critics of Bernanke, saying that he hasn't done enough to actually change the practices on Wall Street and at banks, not enough to do it, not doing enough for the housing markets. Do you have any type of criticism at all in terms of what you've seen from Bernanke so far?
No, I don't. I think your previous guest's opinion is just different than mine. I think right now what you're trying to do and what Bernanke's trying to do and what Obama's trying to do, and I'll tell you what I'm trying to do, is to get housing prices up, to get foreclosures down, to get more people back working. I mean, I think sometimes people forget that we were in a deep hole. We almost fell into a very, very deep hole. And just getting us out of the hole, this is not a time to be talking about all the great wonderful things we should be doing. We're bailing the boat. He says, there's going to be water left in the boat after we're done. We're bailing the boat so we don't drown. And so this is what's going on right now. And I think Bernanke's done a good job. Now, I think it's indicative of the fact that in the Senate, in his confirmation, probably there'll be critics from the left and from the right concerned about what happened. We did go through one terrible period, and I think so there'll be concern. And I think he just represents kind of the concern on the right.
Okay, well, speaking about concerns, you have concerns about what's going on in the stock markets right now. You want the SEC to review 7 stock market trading practices, including high-frequency trading, as well as dark pools. A lot of the critics, though, to you and others who've talked about this have said, well, look, this increases liquidity in the markets. It has for many years. Why are you now attacking this?
Right. Well, basically, that's my basic concern, and it isn't just the 7 things. It's the system that I'm concerned about. I got started on this because of the uptick rule, which, when I was at Wharton, was something we should keep in effect, and we repealed after 70 years, and the market, and at a time when the bears really took over the market, in my opinion. And what happened during the last few years is there's been the kind of this appeal to liquidity as opposed to fairness. I mean, many times these issues are at conflict. And I think that one of the great things about America is our securities markets, and one of the great things about a securities market is everyone knows they're fair and on the level, not that they're liquid. So what I'm saying is that the FEC, rather, we had flash orders come up, and everybody said, this is where NASDAQ went to the SEC and asked for approval, and they said yes, but then we found as soon as people knew what flash orders were, it gave certain people an advantage over other folks. That is really, really key to the success of our market. So we've worshipped at the altar of liquidity for a certain extent for the last few years. It's time to take an approach and look at where liquidity and fairness meet, and fairness is the more important thing.
Okay, fair enough. But then would you say making these markets or making these practices more fair is still keeping these structures in place, but just making them more transparent?
This is what the Securities Exchange Commission is for doing. Senators are for identifying problems of this kind in regulatory nature and then presenting them to the regulatory agencies for them to come back with suggested solutions. So some of these things we're going to keep in place, some not. But that's up to, I have great faith in the chair of the commission, Mary Shapiro. She's new. She's not moving quite as fast as I like her to move, but I think she'll do it. She's talked about flash orders. They've talked about high-frequency trading. They've talked about dark pools, but what I'm saying, the main point I'm trying to make is that there's a systemic problem. We have to look at it. Dealing with each one of these piecemeal is like building on a faulty foundation. So my answer is I think we have to take a look at the entire system, make sure that, number one, it's fair. That's what the SEC is required to do. Fairness has got to be a key point of all of our markets.
Okay, attacking them all at once. Senator, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining me. Senator Ted Kaufman of Delaware. Well, coming up, naming names. A judge tells the Federal Reserve to name which banks it's helped to